Yeah.
So yeah, you got to watch out for cans that are kind of bulgy.
Well, it's not bulgy. It's just when I picked it up. When I picked it up, I squeezed it, and I could squeeze the sides of it. And I don't think you should be able to squeeze the sides of it and it like give in.
Wait, guys, can I just introduce the broadcast? So good evening, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the globe versus the flat Earth.
Well, that's what all of these shows are about, but it's not necessarily about that. It's just trying to get some content out there. This is debating flat Earth topics, like, doesn't necessarily mean flat Earth. It could be other things related to flat Earth. Like, for instance, how much pressure does it take to boil the perfect baked potato?
Or to can some chicken.
I know how to boil water without heating it.
Well, and listen, I'm only asking this. I know there a lot of people in the flat Earth see a lot of crap on the horizon, and so we're trying to maybe prepare for shit hitting the fan, you know. And I'm going to take these cans back to the store because I'm like, I think that they're probably contaminated or something.
Yeah, so they should be, you were correct, vacuum sealed for that type of can specifically, and they roll over the edge of the can. So what I'm guessing is that the lip of the can has a gap in it. But the one way you can test it is if you open one, you should hear air rush into it. And if that doesn't happen, then that means that your cans are defective.
Yeah, you want to hear a hiss, not a fizz.
Well, like take a can of pork and beans, and you pick it up and you squeeze the can. Whatever, a can of peas. Okay, a can of peas. You squeeze the sides. You should not be able to squeeze it at all because as the can gets pressured, it's supposed to force out it's supposed to be vacuum packed, basically, where you could not squeeze it.
Okay, so tomato basil does not... How much can you squeeze it, I guess? Because I can squeeze them a little bit.
A little bit?
Not like by an appreciable amount, but like enough to make the metal flex a little bit.
Well, okay, say, a can of tuna, like a little can of tuna. If you could you imagine trying to squeeze that and squeeze the sides and it actually gives? That's like, no, that shouldn't happen.
I have chicken sausages which squeeze a lot, which are not new.
And some facts you tend to believe in the globe, correct?
Who?
Me?
Facts.
Oh, facts.
Mm-hmm.
Change my name so it's easier to recognize.
And so how did you come to this conclusion?
Oh, many, many ways.
Well, can you name one proof? Because I haven't seen one yet.
It's geometrically impossible for the sun to set on a flat Earth. And if it's light dissipating because the sun's getting further away, the sun would not be setting at the horizon. It would be setting some angle above the horizon. Because in order for the sun, at a height of 3,000 miles, which is the lowest I've heard anybody claim for the height of the sun, assuming it's a physical location, the sun would have to be 18,000 miles away from you, horizontally, for it to be 10 degrees above the horizon. And by that point, you're already like off the other side of the Earth. If you assume it's about the same size as a globe, but flattened. Oh, and if it's 1 degree above the horizon, it's 180,000 miles away. So, it's like about how far the moon is.
Right, but you realize in the heliocentric model, the globe and the sun they appear to us to be the same size, but they're actually massively different sizes.
Yes.
Isn't that a weird coincidence to you?
I don't know if it's a coincidence as much as it just is.
And evolution? Do you believe in evolution as well?
Isn't it just a coincidence that the most prevalent fluid on the Earth expands as it freezes, as opposed to every other liquid which contracts? It's not a coincidence. It just is.
Good point.
Is it intelligent design, or what is it?
I don't know.
Or is it just a coincidence?
Well, coincidence
There's no
implies.
such thing as coincidences, bro.
Yeah.
Not in debate. There isn't.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to debate. I was just like trying to talk. So, do you believe in evolution?
No.
What? No.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Bad monkey.
I don't know. We're not too dissimilar from other things.
Agreed.
Like, I guess for me, the line for evolution would really be like, how plausible is it? Because like, if you look at what differentiates us from other organisms, the only difference is our capacity for thought and to make things, and even that isn't completely unique. Like,
Really?
animals feel things. Like your dog,
capacity for thought. That's kind of unique.
yeah, like your dog.
Is that why human life is so unvaluable nowadays?
That's a deep derailing conversation, though.
Well, I'm just trying to make a point. But
There's another question, which is, if evolution is a thing, is there still a possibility for a creator? Which I would say that there kind of is, because couldn't a creator think ahead and kind of
nice of you to fit us into your model.
Evolution? But that's a different thing.
Yeah, I think it kind of disproves the Christian God, but I mean, there's other possibilities.
I mean, the other thing about like all of our interpretations of God is that like a lot of them were written by people, so like the way it's passed down.
Well, the only people who have enough intelligence to talk about it really are people, aren't they?
What was that?
Well, what about God?
What about God?
You heard what I said, right? I said,
You guys, you have
People are
Rookie
intelligent.
and Facts. Like, everybody's kind of over talking each other. So, one at a time, perhaps, would be better. So, who are you answering, Facts?
I didn't hear the question.
I think it was Rookie that was talking.
Okay, Ricky, what was your question? Do you want to ask it again?
not really, but I was just saying, I don't remember what I was saying now. I lost it.
Well, it appears our stream host has left us, so we have the live stream onto ourselves.
I have an habit worth mentioning right now because I just got an interesting result. Every time I walk into my room, I have a Swedish English dictionary. I pick a random word out of it, and I just did that because I was about to leave my room, which is what I do every time. And the word I got was "dirka," which means worship. Just kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
What is that, like Russian? Dirka?
Yeah, what is that?
Cyrillic? Or is it Pi? Paleo or pre-Indo-European language.
It's just
which is an odd language.
It's Swedish.
Hieroglyphics. Swedish. Okay.
But yeah, nothing special. It's just a coincidence. We're talking about religion, and the word I get is worship.
Well, I just wanted to point it out to you that whatever you guys put in the live stream text is going to be streamed, and whatever they put in that thing is going to be streamed back, like the chatters and all that stuff. So,
Wait, what do you mean streamed?
It's a live stream,
like
that's why
whatever.
gotta be the lightning.
I'm live streaming right now.
Like the text is live streamed also though?
Yeah, I have one viewer on Facebook. It looks like I just streamed it to all the Flat Earth groups. So
Mm.
anyway, just to let you guys know, if there's any questions or anything that pop up, I'll be relaying them. Or I won't really be relaying them, but just pay attention in the live chat relay room.
Would anyone like to discuss extraterrestrials?
Nope.
Okay. Hey, I'm
Why-
sorry
why
I
do we
missed
need to do
all that. I'm so sorry I missed all that. I had a skunk come up on me in my yard. I had to go deal with that. Huh?
You don't have to take a tomato juice bath.
No, he didn't spray me. Just had to deal with it.
Well, sometimes it can take a while to, actually smell it. Like sometimes they'll spray
Oh,
it.
yeah. Tomato sauce works excellent at getting rid of the skunk smell if they spray you. It really
Yeah.
does.
It does.
So I apologize. I missed y'all's whole discussion just now. Had a little drama.
Oh, no worries. We were just discussing flat Earth theories and stuff like that. It's part of nature.
We were.
We weren't.
What were we
Yeah,
discussing? I don't even know what we were discussing.
That's the problem, Sasha.
Evolution, Sasha.
Evolution.
Oh, y'all were discussing evolution?
No, Sasha was attempting to be an apologistic for evolution, but it wasn't working.
Oh, yeah, sometimes I believe in evolution.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah, I mean, most times I do.
From my studies and understanding, if anything, things actually de-evolve. I don't know if that's the right word.
Why would they devolve? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, like say when most things when they copulate, they do get new genetic makeup material from the other parent or whatever, but they lose a lot of genetic makeup too. So, I mean, and I don't even know if that's all even true, but from what I've studied, that's actually more provable than gaining and changing into evolving into something new. You act like, okay, take it for this way of looking at it. Say you have a cat and it has babies, and those babies don't have any other lineages to bring in new genetics, and they keep mating together. Eventually you're going to have a cat that doesn't have a butt, okay, literally. And
How would you spell evolve, Sasha? EVOLVE. Okay,
Yes.
evolve, right? So that would be a
Yeah.
verb, because there is no noun for evolve. The only noun is evolution.
Well, yeah. Well, evolution.
Now
is
you
a
have
process of evolving, right?
cephalization. You have
Evolution is the
cephalization.
process of evolving.
Listen, you have cephalization. You have westernization. You have
You
slut.
totally cut her off, by the way. She was in mid-sentence.
Okay, Redford Bear, that's enough.
That's
So-
enough. Are you kidding me? Come on, Sasha. That is.
I kind of would like to know which definition he's talking about here. So if it's this definition, and then
Wait, what's your question?
this is what it says.
What?
Huh? Well, this is the facts behind the word. It means to unfold, to open out. That's the only thing that it means. So words don't even evolve.
I don't think that's what it means.
That's what evolve means. To unfold, open out, expand. Like to unroll. Especially that.
Well, that might be one of the
what
definitions, but that's not like
book.
the main
Especially of
contemporary
books.
definition.
I see develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form.
Yeah, I like that one a lot more, actually.
Oh.
Go ahead, Shanna, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. And thanks. I can't see y'all's names when y'all talk, so I don't know why that is. But I was just saying, from my experience, if of just looking at nature, and I used cats as an example because I have a friend that her cats that happened to, because her cat's siblings kept mating with each other, and she got these like really messed up cats that she had to put down because they literally couldn't function, or they didn't even live past childbirth because they were so messed up. Anyway, my point is that generally when mating happens, you actually lose genetic makeup. You don't gain anything. Like, I think that, well, this is beyond topic, but, looking back over older civilizations, we're like, man, how'd they do that? How'd they do that? Because they were smarter and did stuff different than we did, because they were maybe genetically superior than we are now. Possibly. I don't know that for a fact, but it's very possible. And, if anything, I think I do believe in adaptation. Like, we do adapt. Animals adapt to their surroundings. Of course, we adapt. But evolving, that's a whole weird. I can't buy evolution.
It just means the opening of a book. Reading the book.
It's just a
That's what it means.
process of adaptation. It's just a series of adaptations.
No, that's not even what it means. My friend, my guy. Even in medicine.
Evolving is not.
It's a combination of adaptation and natural selection. That's what it is.
Evolving is not adapting. Adapting is something completely different.
Well, adapting is a mutation that's beneficial.
No.
What is adaptation?
Yes, it is.
Hey, listen. It's not a mutation. Adapting is not a mutation. It's a learned thing. That's not a mutation.
A mutation is damage to a single DNA unit, a gene. If it occurs in a somatic body, a gene, it only injures the individual. But if to a gametic reproductive gene, it will be passed on to its descendants. Therefore, there is no evolution. It is de-evolution, my friend.
Actually, mutations can be beneficial as well. Different.
Yeah.
How? Because your arm was longer or your whatever was bigger? I don't get that.
That you're taller than your parents were.
Yeah.
Small change.
How is that a positive? Are you tall?
Am I tall? I'm average.
I mean, my husband's tall.
I'm tall, trust me. It's
tall.
not cool being tall, dude. You hit your head on everything. Your back hurts all the time from stooping over to look at everything. Bumping your
the
head
sink's
on
too low
and everything else.
You have to bend over to get into the sink and everything. It's like nothing's built for tall people. I promise you. My husband hates everything.
You always want what you don't have, man.
How tall is your husband?
I'm happy with my height.
My husband's 6'5".
You should be. Everybody should be.
Oh,
happy
wow,
with
that
their
is
height
tall.
because that's just the way you are. I mean, it's not like you could change it, right?
Yeah. No, I like
Adaptation means
I can reach things that other people can't reach.
action of adapting something to something else, from French adaptation.
You're familiar with epigenetics?
Intimately.
Are you, Sasha?
Yeah, I mean, I have a basic idea of what they are.
Basically, it's the idea that your environment can shape the genes that you actually express. So if you work out a lot, then you'll express like healthier genes, like genes that are beneficial for muscle growth and other.
This is
I'd like to read something for you.
This is absolutely true, but this does not. This has nothing to do with evolution, evolving, because you can wake up genes inside you that are bad, and you can do stuff to your body that's good to wake up genes in your body that are good. So this is not evolution. This is just being either a healthy or a unhealthy person. This is not.
Well, this thing which is pretty observable, which is epigenetics can also determine the genes you pass on to your children. So that's why you'll see like professional athletes, a lot of their children are also very good athletes. And you can say, oh, it's because they had good genes to begin with, or you could say it's because they're expressing those good genes. But
since when is a talent for sports got anything to do with genetics?
Endurance, strength, speed.
And let me take a huge stretch to this. Is how could that genetics from one species of the human you're talking about come from a primordial scum that crawled out of the water and created me? Do you really think that is possible?
I mean, we're viewing the world through a keyhole, so.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we're viewing the world through a keyhole, you're talking about species is learning. Oh, well, I did this and that made me a better person, and I know I need to marry another or mate with another thing that has that great thing, and then our children are going to eventually become us. To really try to put this in your brain, man, of what you're trying to say. Like, that's insane.
I mean, it's absurd. But I think it's also a bit absurd for us to try to imagine things that are well beyond the scope of our size and even just the length of time we'll live for. Like, thinking about what would happen over, say, 1 million years. I mean, that's just so far beyond a human lifespan. Like, how could we possibly begin to understand that? Like, intuitively, I mean. Like, it shouldn't be intuitive, almost.
Well, but I will tell you this flat out. You're talking to a person that doesn't think the Earth's even 10,000 years old, probably.
I know, but I'm saying if we're exaggerating the length to that extreme, it's things at large scale not intuitively anymore.
Well, I want to say with that whole epigenetics thing, like there is, I mean, do we not think terrain theory is a thing? So why would we dismiss this so easily?
Well, I don't actually dismiss it that easily because I do think it is a thing where we do. I think that's I would call it adapting. You know,
it's not adapting; it's still the same kind. It's just different things are expressed.
Well, that's
different
why
colors are expressed.
That's why I call it adapt. That's why I call it adapting, because it is adapting if in a way, because think about all the different cultures in the world where they live and how they have different attributes because of where they live, because that's what.
Like this, depending on which dog you mates it with, which male, as opposed to which female, right? Depending on which dog you mate it with, you're still going to have 50-50 as them coming out. And then if you do it to where it's the original, like a sister or something like that, in with the brother, then you're going to come out with one dog that's going to be albino.
Bringing up dogs
with a pure white coat.
Like, if we're bringing in dogs, I mean, dogs, you can see how rapidly you can change a species and even pervert it. Like, you talk about, like, what a pug looks like versus a wolf.
It's still hybridization, though.
And they're all still canine.
Wait, what? That would be genetic load, I believe, you're talking about.
And see, these are all link addresses. That way, they're not just pictures, so that they get sent.
I was going to post anything. I was going to read some stuff. I can always give you the link to where I got the information. But I got all kinds of evidence. I got a whole book full of it right here. If you guys want to know the truth, I'll tell you all about it.
What?
I can give you 28 reasons why mutations do not mean evolution's true.
It literally has to be true. If mutation exists, evolution literally has to be true.
Sure it does.
If you can see that there are selective pressures,
okay, so name one time. Listen. Name one time in the history of humanity when they have tested any animal and came up with evidence for what you just said. One time. Just tell me one place, one time.
What? The question's unrelated. All I said is if mutation evolution has to be true.
Well, you're saying all these things like you know it for sure, but you're saying it, but you don't. So you haven't investigated it then. You're going by what you were told, or I don't understand.
Okay, so you admit that there are selective pressures in nature, right? Like starvation and stuff like that.
Hold on, I got to answer a phone call. Hold on.
I am lost with that question, Sasha.
I'll explain when I come.
Well, like selective pressure, I mean, like, if you die, you're not going to pass on your genetics. Like, that's a selective pressure.
Here you go. Here you go, Sasha.
What does that have to do with what does that have to do with the discussion?
Well, I'm just saying, if that exists and mutation exists at the same time, evolution has to be true. Because that's literally what evolution is. It's just mutation and natural selection combined. That's literally what it is.
I mean, we have artificial intelligence algorithms based on that exact premise of mutation and selecting like the most viable specimens based upon which ones meet a criteria or don't. So, I mean, you can show the process pretty easily. I have a slightly different question, though, which is, if selective breeding is a thing, why would evolution not be a thing? Like, we've seen selective breeding with dogs. It's not...
Well, selective breeding with dogs, those dogs in selective breeding still stay those dogs. They don't...
They're not the same as the wolves we started with.
No, but they stay in that selective breeding.
But they're different.
They're the same. They're not different than their mom and dads.
They are.
No.
If they're not than their moms and dads, then how did we get from wolves to dogs that look like
I'm talking about when you selective breed two dogs together and you keep selective breeding those same dogs together, you still get those dogs. That's why we have breeds of dogs, and people have papers for those dogs because that's what you're going to get is that dog.
Yes, but that's not what evolution is claimed to be. Evolution isn't you breed the same two monkeys again and again for 1,000 years. It's you breed two monkeys and then you breed their offspring and then you breed those monkeys' offspring, so on, until you have something that's not a monkey anymore. And that's exactly what we do.
What I'm saying is that people have been breeding, let's say, I can't think of the breed right now, what it's called. It's like it's like it's a European dog. It's tall. It looks really woolly. What is this dog called? They've been breeding this breed forever, okay? And that dog, they've been breeding its children and its children's children, its children, and so on, and it's still that dog. And it's not that they breed it obviously to other people that are breeding that same breed of dog. Otherwise, they would get some really bad mutations if they kept breeding the children and children and children, because it'd be a retarded dog, because the head it'd just be all messed up.
Okay, but that's when you're trying to maintain the same dog. Like there's an active pressure keeping the organism exactly the same, or as close to exactly the same as you can.
But you're always still going to get a dog.
What is a dog? Like you're drawing this line at dog, but dog is not like a scientific meaning.
It's a canine. It's a canine, and it will always be a canine. It's never going to turn It's never going to turn into a monkey.
When does it stop? Dog is the question that I'm trying to ask you.
It will never stop being a canine.
Okay, so if I can breed a mouse into a rat, is it still a mouse, or is it a rat?
Well, they're in the same species.
They're not.
It's never going to be a cat with a hat. With a hat.
You know, you can't
something. What's stopping you from continuing to change it? Like where is the line that is stopping me from taking a dog and over 10,000 more years making it into a monkey?
I would say science.
Yes, I'm sure we couldn't do that in 10,000 years, but I'm saying science is not an answer, but
it is an answer because it's scientifically, genetically impossible.
According to what? That's what I'm asking is what's the line between selective breeding and evolution that makes them so different? Because I don't see a large difference between them. In fact, I don't see any real difference except the time span over which it has occurred.
It is genetics. I would say is genetics, and what makes each person or creature what it is genetics. Oh my gosh, are you freaking kidding me? I had a skunk eating my cat food a while ago. Now I got a possum sitting here beside me eating my cat food. I'm sitting outside and I got a possum 3 feet away from me eating my cat food. And it doesn't even care. I'm sitting here talking and it's like, hey, what's up?
It's hungry.
I gotta go for a minute.
Sure you do.
I'll be back.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Your raccoon neck.
Oh man.
Anybody else have an opinion? On the difference between selective breeding and evolution?
Well, selective breeding is not natural selection, is it?
No, it's not. It's intentional selection.
Now, is there any type of intentional selection that's going to cause a lizard to grow wings?
Hard to say.
Yeah. See, that's the only problem. That's why we say, dinosaurs don't exist. Not saying that they didn't exist. It's just not the way that they said it. However, there is a story that's like all over the world in its folklore, right? Everybody says, oh, that's just ancient hooby-joobies, right? Well, what if these are like told down from like those that survived the cataclysm and told the story over and over again? So that's maybe where these stories came from, of this cataclysmic flood, and all these creatures ended up getting, sucked out into the water and ended up, drowning. And it doesn't take much, just the right kind of conditions to cause things to fossilize. It doesn't take a long time. Usually things fossilize within like 40, 50 years.
Is that accurate?
depending on what kind of soil it's in. That's what it's all about, man.
Depositing the minerals in places where you have bone, it's a really odd thing.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, bro, like the fossil record itself, you're going to have those creatures that are smaller, those smaller vertebrates, they're going to be at the bottom of, the stratus pile of the strata. Meanwhile, you're going to have the larger animals at the top simply because they're floating until they get bloated enough to sink and fall down, right? Which is kind of one of the explanations by some creatures that lived in the mud are fossilized that are still alive today, because it's just records of these floods that would take place from time to time, these cataclysms, these interglacial periods. Right? What if, geology is completely wrong because nobody's actually seen geology happen, and when they do, they're astonished because it happens so fast? Like Mount St. Helens.
The way they date the fossils is carbon dating.
Well, carbon dating, that's a bullshit, dude. They can only go back 1 million years at the most.
There's no carbon.
And who invented carbon dating, right? Libby, right? This man named Libby. In Libby Labs, right? He was a Jesuit. Same man that invented the...
Can't trust them Jesuits.
Jesuit priest. They were both Catholic priests.
Well, isn't that kind of discrimination?
Can you explain to me how facts are discrimination, Sasha?
Hang on, let's look up the Jesuit oath since Sasha doesn't know what
since he's like, that sounds like, we're not talking about Jews, man. This is a whole different thing. You don't know what a Jesuit is, obviously.
Well, I mean, there's Jesuit high schools, so they can't be that bad.
Yeah. No, you listen to this oath. Listen to this oath, you're going to understand. I'm sorry. I'm back. I ran that possum off.
Okay, let's hear the oath.
Now, see, that's just an opossum. However, an Australian possum, some bitches are cuter than shit.
This one is cute. He was cute. I didn't want to run him off, but you let every vermin come in your yard, and then, I swear, I love animals, and obviously they know I love them because I had a skunk 10 minutes ago, and then I had a possum. Are you kidding me? I've got a rock wall fence around my house, you guys, okay? It's not normal for vermin to get in here.
You should let them inside. They're cold.
It's not cold here. I'm in Texas.
Oh. Maybe
anyway, there's lots for them to go feed on, but no, they gotta come eat my cat food.
If a rodent broke into your house and it was in the middle of winter, would you let it stay inside?
Dude, in the middle of winter this winter, I had the cutest mouse. I've got these cabinets behind my TV, and he was running up the cabinets and his cute little ears, and I was like, okay, go ahead, and I didn't do nothing. I didn't even try to catch the sucker. Yeah, I don't mind as long as if he's getting into my groceries and stuff, yeah, I'm going to put something out to catch him.
There you go, Sasha.
I've been putting up with that skunk for 3 months, coming in my yard and eat my cat food, though. And this possum just showed up today. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's so off topic. But, man, what I call y'all and join you, and, it's what's next? What's next? A rattlesnake?
Snakes are cool.
Rattlesnakes aren't.
I don't know. I've seen a rattlesnake.
I have too. I had 8 in my yard one summer, like 5 years
Big
ago.
old path, you're unmuted.
Had some big
Sorry
old
about
boys. No, we're talking super off topic, so I should just shut up.
I don't know if we got a clear answer on evolution versus selective breeding. Line seems blurry to me still, but we can move on from it because it's not. I don't see it being very productive because I don't think any of us are geneticists. So
yeah, it can turn into just a circular conversation, and it just kind of stalls out. It does.
Yeah, when we have a topic as often the medicine is that it ends up messy.
That really shows a big part of you to understand that it is one of those things that just can get like that. And so kudos on you for understanding that.
Medicine as a whole is a surprisingly, I'm not going to call it unscientific, but it's very much observation, take notes, and that's it. There's no leaps of analysis in medicine. Like, it's very much we see exactly what happens and then we record it. And then that's what's taught to doctors, and it's you can't very easily. So prediction in medicine is not a thing.
And you have to that's got to be many studies. Otherwise, you're not sure if you're dealing with, just happenstances, if it works, or placebo effects, or mind over matter. You don't know. With medicine, that's why I call it practicing medicine.
Yeah, the other thing with medicine is that you'll always have an exception. So, you'll have a treatment that works for 99% of people, and then there's one unlucky person who's just like, oh, I died. That sucks.
This is so weird. Me and my mother-in-law were just talking about this today because I'm one of those weird people. She takes Benadryl for her allergies in the evenings, and it works great for her, and it also helps her go to sleep. I take Benadryl, and I'm wide awake, and it doesn't do crap for my allergies. So, but we also talked about Xanax. Xanax, for a lot of people, it mellows them out and go to sleep too. If I take a Xanax, I'm going to be like, hey, let's go party. So it's really weird how drugs you can't just pinpoint and say, hey, this works this way for somebody and this works that way for somebody, I
think the brain is also one of those things where, when you have psychological based drugs, it becomes a whole different monster because, say you design a drug to cure depression. If you look at the depression, drug commercials, they're always risk of contemplating suicide and all that kinds of stuff on it. Is it helping or is it not helping, or is
right? Or you're wanting to make me not depressed, but I might want to commit suicide if I take this drug. Okay.
That's supposed to make me feel happier? What? Yeah.
Hello, Amir. How are you doing?
It's a mess.
Yeah, the medical field is probably not a conversation we should have because that's really a very touchy subject these days. Seriously, that can get your stream shut. That can get your stream shut down.
I'm kidding. I don't want to get anybody's shit shut down. But to be honest with you, that's really what we should be doing.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't take any pharmaceuticals whatsoever. I haven't been to the doctor. I'm 40.
All, what do you call it? It's like different kind. No, it's like lithium drugs. It's like not exactly lithium, but it's like different kinds of alkali metal.
Yeah,
alkali
oxidants. And Josh,
crystals.
I haven't. I'm 40. I'm 42. No, I'm 43. No, I'm 42. And I haven't been to the doctor since I was 20.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, no. I haven't been to the doctor.
Growth, you can talk now.
I haven't been to the doctor in 20 years. So just put it that way.
Yeah, I don't trust the doctor.
No, I don't trust the doctor because all they want to do is put you on pharmaceuticals so that because they're all like pill pushers, and I don't want to be on pills.
It's a very basic thing, and a lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm being funny," But the thing is, why should I take medical advice from somebody that's clearly not healthy, and or is not smart enough to tie their own shoe?
Oh,
that's a very good point.
This is terrible of me to say, but have you seen our national health advisor? Not the epitome of health.
Have you seen any of those motherfuckers? They all look sick.
Yeah.
And you're the dietitian for the school system? Come on now. It's no wonder we have pizza and French fries. Come on.
It's so sad. Oh my gosh. I was just talking to my mom today about politics, which I hate. I'm not of the left or right paradigm whatsoever. And my parents hate that because they're like super Fox News listeners, okay? And I'm not Democrat, Republican, nothing, okay? But I was trying to talk to my mom today about some issues that probably I can't talk about here. But I told her some stuff that was going on in the Senate, and she was just like, what? Because a lot of this stuff, doesn't get aired on TV anywhere because nobody wants, no news company wants to cover any of it. And I was like, yeah, I just try to watch it to keep an eye on what they're trying to do to us next, Anyway, like I said,
a look at non-American news, like the BBC versus American news.
Oh, BBC's just as bad, though.
It's publicly funded, though, so it's not as much of the fear-mongering. Like, if you watch it, it's a lot less outrageous.
It's a lot less outrageous, but they still push the agendas.
Hey, I like BBC Radio 1. They throw out some pretty good mixes of electronic dance music every once in a while.
Hey, I'm probably so gonna insult Ricky, but Ricky, has anybody ever told you look a bit like Jordan Peterson?
No one's ever told me that.
No?
I'm not offended by that. I think he's a decent guy.
And I didn't know if you just couldn't stand him because a lot of people hate that man, but you almost even kind of sound like him.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I like Jordan Peterson. He seems like a very intelligent man, even though he's not in a lot of ways, but he's smart in a lot of ways.
What do you disagree with him about, though? Just if you don't mind me asking. Not that I've listened to everything he's talked about. I'm just asking. I'm just curious.
Oh, I actually.
Is there any topic that you mean in general?
I actually don't disagree with him on anything that he talks about.
Okay.
But I can tell.
I was gonna say I listened to a lot of his stuff, and although some of the things he says seems like shocking and stuff, like it seems like he's being cruel or whatever. He's an honest guy, and I think when he does get out what he has to say, he usually makes a lot more sense than all the crap that you hear the other people yapping about. I know he does kind of like he has a way of putting people in their place, and I know a lot of people don't like that, and they take that as like an offensive type of trait. But I mean, when you deal with crazy people and people that are brainwashed, it's how else do you deal with that? I mean, you have to be able to do it with confidence, and you have to be able to do it with respect at the same time, right? I mean, and I think he does that. I don't think he's ever rude. I mean, sometimes he loses his temper a little bit, you could tell, but I think he's, I don't know. I'm not defending him by any means. I'm saying, I like what he said.
You go right ahead and defend him all you want. That's all good, because I actually really like the guy. And like I said, I actually personally don't disagree with anything I've ever heard him talk about. But there's some underlining things that he doesn't talk about that makes me wonder. For such a smart person, I wonder why he doesn't talk more about things such as in this discussion.
I think he probably does all the time, but it's probably just not what gets on the TV.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Like I said, I don't really know him well or anything. I just know of him. I don't know him. I can't really.
I'm curious where he stands on cosmology and stuff like that. Is what
me too. I actually asked him.
Very curious.
I sent messages to him. I don't know if he gets them.
And maybe in his, because of where he is, he might not be able to speak on those things because it would kill his entire.
Well, yeah.
Platform.
If you want to show the truth to the world, you have to do it in context. Otherwise, the people in charge won't. You can't appear to be going against them. You have to do it. You know what I mean? So I think, in a way, he's phony because he has to be, but he's getting the message out there, and he's making normal people, think like people, like thinking with their brain, not with their feelings and their hearts and their dicks and whatever else they're using. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like feelings.
So you get
they're
what
important,
I'm saying.
but they're not more important than fucking life itself. Come on, I get it. People get hurt. I mean, I got abused as a kid. I got all kinds of shit skeletons in my fucking closet, But that doesn't mean that I'm a horrible person. It doesn't give me an excuse to fucking go out and treat people shitty or walk all over people or put myself above them or any of that. If anything, it's my duty to fucking take that information and use it to help people that are like me, right? That's the way I look at the world. I try to look at things like, how can I help, not how can I make things worse? Or how can I bring attention to something so other people will do something about it? If I can't physically or financially change the world, how do I change the world then? Well, I convince other people that do have money and do have power to do it, right? So there's always a way to change. I don't know what.
I will put it in his own words. You clean your own room before you try to fix the world.
Yeah. First you take the stick that's in your eye out, and then you can better help your friends. Show them, if they got something stuck in their eye, right? Same thing when you're on an airplane and there's no lack of oxygen. You put your mask on first, then you try to help the people next to you.
Isn't he addicted to opioids though? Like, shouldn't he be figuring that out before providing insight to the world?
Who?
Isn't it kind of hypocritical? Jordan Peterson.
Who? I'm sorry.
Jordan Peterson's a drug addict? I didn't know that. Not that it mattered. But,
I did not hear. I didn't hear what she said. What'd she say? What did you say, Red?
He's addicted to opioids, I believe.
I don't think we're talking about Jordan Peterson.
So am I.
I don't think he is. I think we're talking about somebody else.
Well, I'm addicted to opiates. It's like I do.
But I don't think that Jordan Peterson is. I think he may have been back in the day.
I'm not trying to be rude or nothing. If that's really you feel strongly about people that use drugs, but
no.
I mean, name one person that doesn't use drugs of some kind or other. Yeah, maybe.
I drink alcohol every day.
I
used to.
One person.
What?
that's my thing. I drink, but I don't.
And Einstein dropped out of college and grade school and never finished college. So
my bad. Okay, so sorry. It wasn't opioids. It was benzodiazepines. That's what he was addicted to.
I remember he was addicted to something, but it was a while back. Like a while back.
That's great. It's great that he's helped so many people. I just find it so interesting because isn't he like supposed to be like this motivational speaker guy, but he's addicted to benzos. It's just like,
but if he didn't have some defects, would you even take him seriously?
I don't take him seriously.
But at the same time, he's not anymore, and he actually became more of a motivational speaker afterwards, as far as I know.
Okay, well, maybe I'm just saying what I know. It's very recent, but yeah, I mean, all right then. Sorry.
Yeah, Redford.
Nothing wrong with telling what you know or you heard. I don't have a problem with that.
Jordan Peterson is a shill for the Conservative Party of Canada.
Great. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes absolute sense. Cool.
Well, and that's why I say I don't trust him just because he doesn't come out and talk about certain things.
Is it ever possible to have a conversation, a logical one, where someone doesn't bring someone crazy like that into the conversation?
Hey, I'm sorry, man. I only brought it up because you resemble him to me a little bit. That's all.
No. I didn't mean that. I was just, I don't know. I'm just. I mean, every conversation I have online, it seems like it'll always be going along, and people have differences. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do the same thing. Someone will be talking, and I'll take offense to something that they're not even talking to me about, right? They're not even talking about me. They don't even know me, right? But for some reason, I'll get this weird feeling that I'm being like somebody's saying they're talking about me, and I'll start getting defensive, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? Nobody was talking to you." And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's right." It's like, yeah, it's.
Oh,
I get it.
You get that. You get that. I'm the tall man in the room, and everybody's looking at me. Thing, huh?
Mm.
Hey, it happens.
You know what I'm saying, though, right? Like,
it happens to us all, man. It happens to us all.
And then usually that ends up going in and setting other people off, because then I start talking about things like as if I'm framing them in a way like I'm pointing a finger, but I'm not. But I don't know why I do it, but it just comes out that way. I don't know. Sometimes I just make mistakes. I apologize. I don't mean to offend people or sound like I'm being argumentative. It's not like that, really. It's just
don't apologize, brother. Don't apologize. You don't need to.
I heard a great conversation amongst a bunch of people earlier today. It was a stream. It was streamed a few months ago, but I was listening to it, and one of the guys said, one of the most beautiful things about, and I'll just put, this was a Christian chat, or a religious chat, if you will. Not necessarily Christian, because they were kind of from a bunch of different kind of faiths and stuff. And they said, the one thing that the apostles did, and throughout the Bible with different people, is that when they had a disagreement or didn't agree, whatever, a quarrel, they would just say, okay, brother, and go on their way or whatever, or they would discuss it out. It was never I'm never talking to you again or whatever. It was, we've got to be more open to hearing people's opinions and thoughts, and actually come to the truth instead of arguing about semantics and stupid bullshit, and actually just, hey, okay, let's just go at it with, we can totally debate and go at it to get down to the truth. But
if people decide to fend off, if I decided to debate someone, let's say, okay, and go on a stream or whatever and debate you or just whoever, for whatever reason, for whatever argument, whatever debate we're going to have, I would talk to you. I would get in touch with you, and I would have a long, probably an hour-long conversation with you and decide what we're going to talk about, how we're going to conduct ourselves, because that's the way normal people do it, right? I don't just go off to the side and get all this evidence just to humiliate you, and then you do the same thing, and then we just see who can humiliate the other guy. That's not a fucking debate, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I see this happen all the time, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? You're like, this isn't a debate. This is just two assholes yelling about how each other is stupid. Like, I don't give a shit what they think about each other. Show me some fucking evidence, right? Don't you get sick of going into a debate expecting to learn something, and then you don't learn shit because all they do is argue about petty shit that doesn't matter? It's like,
right?
Where did it come from? Like, you know what I'm
because
saying?
Our common ground should be, but this is the problem. You've got to come to the debate with the open mind that, you know, maybe this person has something they could teach me about the topic we're talking about, so that you can glean things from each other. You know, this is how you sharpen the sword, right? You and too many people that come together to talk about flat earth, globe earth, all of these are just two very pointed topics that we are here to discuss. They don't come to the table with that kind of mindset. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, in my head, the earth is not a globe. The globe is gone for me. But I can still come to the table with the globey and try to understand where they're coming from, because I was there once upon a time, you know? And so I can totally see their point of view and why. I mean, do y'all, you know what I'm saying? We still have to stay in that humble state of, where we can still have a civil conversation with even somebody who comes at us with some insane stuff. Because, to be honest, it wasn't that insane to many of us 10 years ago, you know? Did I get muted?
Yeah. No, you didn't. No. I'm sorry. I got up and I was looking over the fence at my backyard here. I thought somebody was going to do donuts, and I went over here and so.
Do you have a skunk in? You have a skunk in your yard?
Nope. I do have possums and skunks. I have all that problems, but I haven't had any of them come in my yard yet. That's probably still yet to come.
Well, do you understand what I shouldn't say. Do you understand? But
I can relate to exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, I do.
I go into a lot of.
I got some wise words for you. A wise man will hear and increase learning. A man of understanding will attain wise counsel. Those are words of wisdom right there.
Absolutely.
Took me a long time to find that in here, but regardless of what you think about religion or whatever,
But thinking,
and that's true. It is. A wise man will hear. In other words, they'll listen. Smart people don't fucking talk over everybody and call people assholes and say, "Oh, you're a stupid ass. Get the fuck off the stream." That's not how we conduct ourselves, right? How we learn and how we teach people is we show them by doing, right? We be wise. We don't just fucking learn it. We be wise. We become it. We be the change. We be whatever you want to call it, whatever phrase you want to use for it. But nobody's doing that anymore. Everybody's just learning about it and then talking shit and then trying to make themselves better. Or I don't even know. It just every conversation seems to always lead to that. Or it's some kind of defamation of character shit. It's like, well, I can't beat you in a debate, so now I'm just going to fucking talk shit about you and call you an asshole or bring up the fact that you're a drug addict or whatever. I'm not pointing at anybody. I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff that I hear all the time and it gets thrown out there. And I'm like, well, what does that have to do with anything, though, really? Like, if somebody's being honest and they're telling the truth about something, who gives a shit what their past is, right? they're telling the truth now. You still learn from them. There's no reason to throw away what someone says just because they're colored or yellow or blue or smart or stupid or rich or poor. What the fuck? What does that have to do with anything, right? It's called,
it has nothing to honest, do with anything,
right? And you can have a conversation about things in a civil way, and maybe, yeah, exactly what you said is exactly true. Sometimes you learn more about something when you actually give it a chance and you actually put yourself in the shoes of the other person. And why wouldn't you do that if you're going to debate somebody, right? I mean, isn't that what we're all really doing? Is debating the flat Earth, right? We want to show our evidence. We want to convince people if they want to listen, right? But why is it we always have such a hard time actually finishing the job? All we do is we attract people to the thing. They're attracted and they're interested because they're learning and they're understanding things. They're starting to realize things about the world that aren't true, and they're thrown away by it, right? And so they come in here and they're coming for support. They're not coming in here to have some asshole scream at them and call them stupid. Am I right? Like when you came in here,
you're 100% right.
But no, that's what we let happen all along in all these servers. It's like I'm so sick of that. It's like, why do we have to be that way? Like, why does it? I mean, I joke around because it's what everybody else is doing. So it's just like, might as well just goof around and just act stupid, right? You know what I mean? It's like I was on the live stream earlier, and it's like right before Ladies' Night started, and I was all excited about Ladies' Night because normally it's like really cool and everything. You know, like, and I like all the people in there. I like all the gals, you know what I'm saying? But it just kind of went south, and then I ended up leaving. It was like, I don't know, you know, it just, something turned me off, and I feel like I'm in the enemy whenever I'm in there at certain times of the day. It's almost like I'm not a human being anymore. I'm not a flat earther. I'm not nothing. I'm meaningless. You know, my titles and all that are meaningless. I'm just supposed to shut up and listen or whatever. It's like, I can't bring up the fact that somebody's being an asshole, or I can't bring up the fact that somebody's just being a stupid ass and we're just wasting our time with it. It's like, why can't we bring that up? I mean, what? Well, because you're in charge now? It's like, every day is somebody different's in charge. I'm so sick of that shit, you know? It's just stupid. It's like,
I so agree with you.
Somebody needs to commit to fucking doing it, right? Is it because no one's fucking got the balls to stand up and take a fucking shift, or what? It's like, are we really serious about this? I mean, well, come on, you know, like, it's just a fucking joke is what it is. It bothers me because it makes me feel like I'm just part of that joke, right? And I don't want to be part of a joke. I don't want to be part of a cult or some stupid group of people that act like assholes that think they're better than everybody else. I just want to be in a group of people that will talk and have conversation with me and make friends with me, and they're intelligent. Because I don't like people that aren't intelligent. They think about silly things, and it bothers me. It's not that they're not worthy or anything. It's just I would rather hang out with people that are smart and talk like me. Or at least, you know, I consider that smart. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the dumb one. But regardless, I want to be around people like me, and that's why I come in these places, to find that, right? I'm looking for people like me to conversate and to learn from. I'm not coming in here so I can prove to you I'm better than you, because how will you even know that? You've never seen me before unless you saw me on a video, right? Like, you don't know me. I might convince you. You might hear me talk. You might be inspired by me. You might hate me or whatever. But you see what I'm saying? That's not what I'm really here to do. I'm really kind of here just to share what I know and learn about things. And sometimes I disagree, and that's okay. But it's not okay in some places. Like, well, you can't do that. You can't talk about that now because that'll just sidetrack the conversation. Well, maybe it needs to get done once in a while. Maybe we need to have somebody stand up to that bullshit where, well, you can't talk about religion. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about... You know, I get it. You know, when you're putting it on YouTube and all that, we have rules, and we're trying to keep shit so we can show it to people. But, I mean, sometimes it gets ridiculous. It's like, fuck YouTube, you know? Sorry, YouTube, but...
Dude, I swear.
Look, people are starting to leave now because, I'm going off and I'm being honest.
Listen, like, you just spilled out. You just spilled out my heart. You literally just said everything I've been wanting to say.
Yeah, and I'm clearing the room. Sorry about that, everybody.
I don't think you're clearing the room. If you are, let them people go, because this literally...
Well, I mean, I know people have things to do and whatever, to get phone calls and shit. I did. I had to take my grandma home here. I had to take my grandma home earlier. That's why I had to cut out in the middle of that talk about evolution. And I can go on and on and on about evolution, how bullshit it is. But, like I said, it sounded like the person who was speaking wasn't listening. You know what I mean? And I hate that. I respect people when they're stubborn, because I'm stubborn too. That's what makes me intelligent, is because I'm stubborn and I want to know shit for real. I don't want to just hear what you think about it. I want you to show me. You know what I mean? Like, prove it to me. Show me the real evidence. Don't bullshit me. Don't tell me what you think it is. Although if that's all you've got, then tell me. But other than that, I mean, if you really got evidence, then break it out. Every time I say that, and every time I tell my friends, like, if you don't want to believe in flat Earth, that's okay with me. But if you're going to be rude and you're going to be nasty about it, then why don't you go home and spend 5 minutes and go find me some evidence that what I'm saying is untrue. And when you find that evidence, bring it over to me and we'll have a conversation about it. And I'll be civil and I'll be nice. And nobody comes. I've asked hundreds of people to do that. Not one have showed up. Not one time. For any reason with any kind of evidence. So I don't know. Maybe there's no evidence. Maybe they just think I'm an asshole. I don't know. I don't really give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want people to think I'm some crazy person because I think I know something and they don't want to look at my evidence. I'm sorry. Fuck you then. You know what I mean? What are you here for? Why are you debating something if you're not willing to change your understanding if you find evidence for it? Like, I'll look at your evidence if you got any, but by God, if I can find any, especially online, especially on YouTube, when you look up flat Earth, what do you get? You get National Geographic? Since when does National Geographic do pieces on flat Earth people? I don't get that. And why would I listen to what the fuck they say anyway, right? Come on, people. Maybe people need to wake the fuck up.
Well, I do have to say, what you just expressed, all of it, seriously, is 100% how I feel about many people that do have a like platform talking about flat Earth. It seems like I've been in many discussions with people, and I try to be that understanding, reasoning voice talking to that person. And like you said, there's so many people that are just like, you're an idiot. Hey, get the fuck out of here. And they don't
I've heard people talk to you like that, and it pissed me off, and I think I left that. I think there's one time when I actually left the live stream because of that.
This is kind of like my personal experience with like trying to like control things is just like, you know, hey, that's perfect and all that, you know, and then just all of the F-bombs, and I'm just like, well, that went off the hinges.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did say F-bomb. I'm apologizing, but you know.
Well, now it just got rated like R. So.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I apologize.
It's just it makes me sad. It makes me sad that there are these people that truly do come to a lot of flat Earth streams to have an open discussion. And they're actually curious, and they ask these newbie questions, and people are like, they just shut them down and kick them out. Well, you know, we all started somewhere to get to this understanding where we are, and you know, you can't just. That's just not right. It's not right.
That's why I created this live stream. That's why, like the people that actually have questions, and even the trolls, we can even address the trolls if they wish. But the thing is it's going to be controlled, kind of like the VC check-in. Is the VC check-in is so nobody can just walk into the stream and porn bomb.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do have to be careful about that for sure. But
so that's why I have some precautions set up. So, but besides that, you know, if you guys want to get together and just talk about stuff, but try not to talk about like other dramas, like especially when it comes to other servers, because I don't want to get out there to where like, well, these guys are against these guys because of this and that. And, you know, I don't want that going on.
And that's why I'm not mentioning any. That's why I'm not mentioning any specific things. I'm just saying
I wasn't thinking about what I was saying. I'm sorry. I've been kind of like, my bad. I got diarrhea in my mouth.
You know what I mean? It's just like one of those deals to where try to be civil about everything, you know? So like, you know, it doesn't matter, like it's other people's property, right? But I want this one to be our property. Like, it's not just mine, it's also yours. So if you want to set up a Restream account, I can have it set up to where, you know, your viewers can sit here and have their chats relayed to the stream too.
Well, like I was saying earlier, and it was a totally it was a video from a few months ago, and I'll just tell you exactly what was said, but it was in a religious setting, okay? The guy said, in our community of this religious setting, we might disagree about certain things here, there, and yonder, but these are disagreements. The only thing that should separate a brother from another brother or sister from another sister should not be disagreements. Okay, and some of y'all might not disagree with this, some of you may, but the only thing that should actually separate us is sin or something sinful. And that's what was said in the discussion that I was listening to earlier today. But it was from a couple months ago of somebody I was listening to. And I 100% agree with that. Is that if it's not some kind of egregious thing, it shouldn't be something that should separate us from having a discussion. Can we all agree upon that? I would say we probably all would agree upon that.
Oh man, I'm sitting here muted.
I thought my phone died. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? The discussion should never end between any of us unless it's something super egregious, like where like you have literally committed a sin against me or something, like that. That's why I never understood why many people actually asking for open discussion amongst things turn somebody away when they were literally asking questions that they just didn't like. And I'm not talking about trolls. I'm talking about real people asking real questions, Anyway. I'm just here for an open discussion about all things, and I'm happy that y'all are not just stuck on one thing. Yes, it's good to talk about flat Earth, but flat Earth, in my opinion, encompasses a bunch of topics because once you wake up to that, you wake up to so many other different things. There's a ton of topics. And maybe some of those other topics might wake somebody up, and then they might find the fact that the Earth is not a globe or whatever. It might be some other thing that it wakes them up to this or that. It's actually a huge conversation about many topics.
It's just one layer to it. It's one single layer to the deception. So if there's a group of people that are unwilling to see through even one layer of it, that's why I always like to say, okay, well, which layer have you looked down? How far deep into the rabbit hole have you actually been down into? I try to get on some sort of a common ground with people, and that's what the mission of this is about. It's about trying to come together on the heads to where we all understand that there's a major problem. We need to figure out, not just why, but what's the solution,
Yeah, what's the solution? That's a.
And it's going to take many minds, right? And we're never going to get anywhere if we're all thinking about atomistic reality when it's not atomistic. The atom's never been proven. Nobody's actually seen an electron. The photon is not proven to be like anything real. It all behaves like a wave, like a ripple. Vibration.
It's like, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm so glad. I can't even remember who sent me the link to come to you. Do you remember?
I can't remember.
But I'm glad he did. It was a he. I know it was a he. I'm drawing a blank right now. But, I really think it's important for us not just to pinhole ourselves into just talking about flat Earth, because it is way bigger than that.
Well, that's why I want to start opening up like a esoteric area. Not just talk about like what the ancients knew about Atlantis and the similar civilizations that have been found underneath like a watery deposit, like a mud deposit and stuff like that. Some would say Tartaria and stuff like that, but it's more like a past that's been hidden to keep from that event occurring again. Because there's power in the voice. It's a vibration. Magical.
Vibration, frequencies is everything.
It's a key. It's a musical key.
Oh, I was a bit obsessed with the 3, 6, and 9 for a while, and the 1, 2, 4, 7.
Okay, so have you ever understood what the 3, 6, 9? It has nothing to do with math.
Has nothing to do, or is that actually true math?
No, it has nothing to do with math. It has everything to do with vibration.
I kind of get that.
Vibration compounded on a base vibration of 3 compounded on a base vibration of 6 will create a base vibration of 9, and then with that you can cause levitation. That's the simplest thing, right? It's the key. It's the key to the universe, because not just with that, but also with your vocal cords. Now the problem is how we pronounce vowels today. It's incorrect. It's a babble.
Oh, it is a babble.
It's been hidden from us for a very long time. The correct pronunciation of the vowels.
But don't you find it weird that the 3, 6, and 9
cataclysm
and
the cataclysm when people learn how to pronounce the vowels correctly, because evidently they'll invoke the tablets, they'll invoke the name every time.
Don't you think it's weird though that the whole because I worked it out down to like the multiplication tables with it and everything, and like I went down into the whole thing and made I made a video on it, but I can't remember what I called it, and it's been a long time ago. But I went down the multiplication tables using the 3, 6, and 9, and the 1, 2, 4, 7. 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. I did the whole multiplication tables of all of these. I literally counted up into like the trillions with it, and it never stops. The pattern never stops. And I mean, I did this on paper by hand doing this, and I made the circles showing how each one's shapes do certain shapes in the circle. I exhausted the whole thing. Okay. And it does have something.
Have you figured out what the throat looks like? You know, that's the pyramid, right?
The trachea?
The throat, the vocal cords itself, it's the pyramid.
But so that would be the three. That would be the three.
The three. There's 6 parts to it. Three muscles on each side. That's 6, and then the 9 is the number of vertebrates that comprise the larynx. The number of bones.
I only took it to the mathematical point.
The voice itself is magical creation, right?
Well, because the word was spoken and it spoke into existence us. So
yes, it's the only thing that exists outside of us that we can manipulate.
I do believe in the power of the spoken word.
See, Boo-Boo, you should roll.
I should what?
I was talking to Boo-Boo. You should have the roll.
The row?
Yes.
What's that?
The roll that allows him to speak.
Oh, the roll. I thought you said the roll. Like the Ruach. You should have the Ruach HaKodesh.
Yeah, I can talk.
Are any of y'all familiar with Hebrew?
A little bit. Do you know what the Ruach actually is?
Well, for my personal studies, the Ruach is actually many things, because the what Ruach means is just spirit, and there's many spirits.
It's actually more of a wind.
It is. That is it's the breath. But
right, it means many things, right? And that's the thing with Hebrew, right? These words can mean many things, and so can the letters mean many things. And based on how the letters are comprised, will let you know what the word means.
Depending on how they're put together.
Right, we'll let you know if it's the negative connotation or the positive connotation on the meaning of the word. So like Nikesh or Nakash, right? It's the same word for either snake or enchanter.
So there's Ruach HaKodesh.
That's the Holy Spirit. That's the set apart spirit. Holy means set apart.
That's right.
Separate.
But there's many Ruach. Many.
There's many Yahuwahs too. There's Yahuwah Nisi, the Yahuwah that heals you. And that's the I am, that's the me, the my.
See, you know a lot more Hebrew than me.
Oh, no, it's not Hebrew. That's the thing. This is the language that predates it. This is the pre-Babylonian.
That's actually Paleo Hebrew.
Well, it means the I. So Ani, Ahai, or Asher, Ahaya. And so that's I am what I am. I will be.
I am what I am. That's basically Alpha and Omega, kind of. That's what is that?
No, the Aleph. It's the Aleph and the Tav. The first and the last.
Right, but I'm saying in Greek, that's where they get the Alpha and Omega. It's from that.
So I mean, like, there's just different types of connotations that go in with it. So
it just means the first and the last in the alphabet.
Well, what does Aleph Tav mean? The strong mark, right?
See, I'm here to glean. I love it when people talk Hebrew. I really do. and I'm here just listening.
If we go here, we go.
Like, I really enjoyed y'all's. I didn't join in. I just listened to. I really enjoyed the y'all's biblical night that y'all had. Was it last night?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just listened, but I really enjoyed it.
We always have a grand old time.
But I've been trying to study and wrap my brain around paleo. I don't even know if it's not paleo. It's like, I'm saying that wrong, I think, but paleo Hebrew. I'm just going to say that. Because I
Time for
did.
you to hit a bong.
Do what?
Hit a bong. Participate in the marijuana.
There we go. I've just posted an image. So what the image says is Aleph is ox head, or strong power and leader. So strong, powerful leader. And Tav, which is all the way at the bottom, is 2 cross sticks, a mark, a sign, a signature. So it's like a seal. The Aleph and the Tav, the seal. See that?
Oh, your flatness of water?
You know, yeah. That's my streamer.
I didn't know that.
So that's pretty much what it means, is the whole Aleph and the Tav, the first and the last of the
Aleph Tav.
The mark of the Aleph. And then if you look at the Aleph Lam, right? So it's Aleph Lamed.
I just got into the chat and because you said you posted something, and I'm looking at the chat, and Bufu was like 369. Damn, she fine.
Maybe you could suck it to me one more time. Get low.
It's too funny. If I knew the video I made about my 369 video, I'd look it up and post it for you, but I don't. It's been so long ago, and I'm not going to go look it up. And y'all shouldn't go look it up either, because it's pretty silly.
Just for that, I'm going to look it up.
No, don't, because like literally it was probably like a year ago. It's like buried. It's buried in tons of sky watching videos. So, yeah.
You watch the sky?
I'm a sky watcher. That's pretty much what I like to do.
How do you watch the sky?
I watch it.
You don't use any optics or?
No, I don't.
Just gaze?
I just record with a regular camera. Don't have no nothing. No filters, no nothing. No editors. I just like to document what's happening in my skies. Been doing that since 2016. Yeah, I was wondering what USO was too. USA. Like, what is OSU?
Well,
I timed him out.
Since he's gonna play a fool, he's got the fool role. We don't have to be worrying about him anymore.
Oh, he's playing a fool?
The about me is she, it. So that kind of says enough.
Man, it's getting chilly out tonight.
Wish it wasn't clouded over. I'd have my telescope out looking at the moon.
Yeah, the moon's looking pretty cool. I don't have a telescope. I actually have a telescope, but I bought it at Goodwill, and I got home, and it's all messed up. Like, it's missing some lenses that were supposed to come with it. I went back, and she's like, "Yeah, I seen that bag of lenses somewhere around here," and they never found it. And I'm like, so I just spent $20 on a telescope that has no lenses. My lighter won't work. Just because it's too cold. So, Josh, where do you live? Do you live in America? I'm assuming you sound very American.
Yep, Arizona.
Arizona. So you're my neighbor. You live pretty close. Your skies are probably similar to mine tonight.
Probably.
Although, the stars at night are bigger and brighter in Texas, right?
It's not necessarily true.
I'm just kidding, because, the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Come on.
Because, I mean, you can be out here in the middle of nowhere, about 45 minutes from town in either direction, and then just look straight up and just see the amount of stars, just wow. And then you're just like, I don't even need a telescope, and I can see the amount of like stars and color just all within the Milky Way. You're just like in awe.
Oh, yeah, that's how it is where I'm at. I'm not near any city. Literally, the closest city to me is like an hour, if not more, away. So we're talking like I have nothing around me. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and yeah, the sky is brilliant. It's amazing, and I think it was Sasha that was on earlier. It was right when I had to get off at the beginning that was talking about how they couldn't understand how the sun could work on a flat plane, and as far as like the geometry of it. And I want to say, just from an artist perspective, it actually makes way more sense to me now. Way more sense, because it just totally makes more sense as an artist perspective of how And I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but from an artist perspective, it actually makes more sense. For having where your light source is and stuff, and how, and the perspective point, it makes way more sense to me now. Oh, what is that?
That's the Arizona night sky.
Oh, no. I'm not seeing that. No, I'm talking about the next picture. Oh, I had my phone turned sideways and it was only showing me the ground. That's amazing. There's no enhancements in that?
I'm pretty sure there's not.
You didn't lighten it up a bit? Because
No.
if it's nighttime, why is the ground so light?
It's because it's a composite.
Well, that one's not. That's the actual color, but it's not that vivid.
Because the one that you posted at 11:42, that one, because you can, the ground's so lit up. You must have enhanced the light a little bit.
No, this isn't even my image.
Well, whoever posted that image must have enhanced the light a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, because the ground wouldn't be lit up like that.
Yeah. So the first picture that Josh posted, that's definitely a composite because you wouldn't be able to get that bright of a ground. So that's a ground shot and a sky shot in the same area. Like it was shot in the same exact spot. Now the second picture, to me, that looks like a long exposure, and it was put into like Photoshop, and the levels were raised to increase the light. But it could also be a composite because the light on the cactus does look a little enhanced, modified a bit. I could be wrong.
Hey, we, over the years, we have been trained to catch this kind of thing, correct? I mean, right? Like we were like, okay, hang on, something ain't right about this. That's like, no, yeah. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful pictures, but it wasn't somebody just snapped a shot. Right.
Here you go.
Is that a picture you took?
No. This is gonna be kind of odd.
That one is very odd. It's like a time lapsed picture or something, possibly. And I think that's what you were saying. I'm going to say, Bufu, are you saying it's like a composite, which would be like a time lapse where they lapsed it all across each other or something?
No, just a composite picture is, it's multiple pictures layered on one another. That would be classified as composite. So, like the picture of the ground, that was probably shot in daylight to be able to get the distance and the bluffs way off in the distance. And then the Milky Way shot, which is totally processed, that was taken from the same camera in the same spot just at nighttime. And then he combined it. So you get the land on the bottom, the clarity of it, and then you beautiful night sky.
Well, it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. And I live, like I said, deep in the heart of Texas. And I have no lights around me. And I don't ever see nothing that looks quite like any of those pictures.
Yeah, that really helps, and so does the dryness. Not so much the humidity, but the dryness really helps.
Oh, man. Hey, guys, I'm going to have to call it a night.
All right.
It's already almost 12 o'clock. I'm up way past my bedtime. I'm an old lady. Yeah, I always really enjoy talking to you guys. And gals when they chime in. So, thanks for having me for a little bit.
That's you, Veronica. Well, it was lovely having you here. Thank you for chatting, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful sleep tonight.
I just got to figure out how to hang up. I'm
Hit
always
the red hang up button.
Well, I was in the chat, so I had to get back to there. So, all right, I love you guys. Good night. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Toodles.
And then there was us.
Better call just joined.
Mm-hmm. No longer.
How are you this evening?
Doing all right. Just looking into Noah's Ark a little bit more today.
Do tell.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at it, and I was wondering. I was thinking to myself, is that the second Passover? You ever heard of that? Connected to Noah's Ark?
Say it again?
The second Passover connected to Noah's Ark?
No.
Genesis 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. So, I think it's in Numbers. Let me dig it up here. Just opening up this computer here.
Hey, you want to talk about religion stuff, go down to the biblical channel. This is a live stream for Flat Earth.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I'm joking.
Oh.
No, that shit. Continue.
Sorry. I apologize. Continue, please.
Okay. I didn't know. I was like, or was that the other server?
I'm mocking. It's definitely the other server.
Yeah, I found it earlier. I think it's Numbers 9. on the 14th day of the second month. So Numbers 9:11. So I'll go reverse a little bit for context. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying, if anyone of you or your posterity, I can't read that word, is unclean because of a corpse, or is far away on a journey, he may still keep Yahweh's Passover on the 14th day of the second month. At twilight they may keep it. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs." So, let's see. Because that's almost like... Hold on.
So what?
Yeah, I was just seeing if there's some kind of connection. So would that mean there's a second unleavened bread as well, and a second first fruits? And then that would offset Sukkot, or not Sukkot, Pentecost off as well? Or am I reading in too far into that, you think? So I don't see that in there, but I'm just wondering if that would be still... Or would they be counting the Omer from the first Passover? I don't know. I was just thinking, it looks like some kind of connection there.
I don't know. I thought he did Thanksgiving as soon as it landed and he found ground.
Well, I was looking, and also you have Sukkot in there too. When it rested on Ararat, if you go farther down, let's see, it's Genesis 8:4, and the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. So that would land, if I'm reading it correctly, in the middle of Sukkot.
But when are you taking the first month?
And that's my question. So is it the same first month, or is it a different first month?
It's a different first month. Like, which calendar you go basing off of? Because the Gregorian's not right, just based off of Gregorian names, right?
No.
September, right? Sept means 7, not 9.
No, they have the months, the first month, second month, third month. Just what's in the Bible.
Even October, right? October means 8, not 10.
No.
Yep.
Their month.
December deck means 10. So May is the 11th month or the 12th month.
Only the month. I'm only talking about the months in the Bible.
Yeah, it was based off of biblical Bible.
Right.
Springtime. Usually the first full moon after the vernal equinox. It's like Passover time, first fruits. It's whenever the barley's done and the winter wheat begins to bow.
I'm not that advanced. This sounds familiar. I'm not familiar too much with when the barley and all that. I'm just like,
But you have to think about it too. Is it the same in Australia? Is it the same in the south than it is in the north? I don't know. I don't think so.
Or is it talking about when the barley is at Jerusalem itself?
That's the thing. Jerusalem itself is in the north. Yes.
But I'm just looking at just what I have here on when it says first month, second month, third month, just what's in the Torah. Does that make any sense?
Huh?
I said I'm just using I'm not using the Gregorian calendar. I'm using just what's in the Torah.
Yeah, but what are you doing as the first month? What time of year?
Well, I'm just trying to match up just what's in the Torah for what the Torah says. If it says first here and it says first over there, or if it says seventh over here and it says seventh over there in the Torah, I mean, it would make sense, right?
It says of the 7th month, right?
Yeah, I'm not talking about Gregorian calendar. I'm just talking about just the word 7th month.
So, okay, so if you go based off of that, don't worry about today's dating, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Go based off of the numbers. So whenever you hear the word Nisan, they're actually using the leap year, which is a proper count.
I'll give you an example. So in Genesis 8:4, it says, the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. All right. Then you go over to Leviticus. So it's still written by Moses, right? So it says, speak to the children of Israel, saying that in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you shall have a Sabbath and memorial of blowing of trumpets. Okay, if you go a little bit farther down, it says on the 10th day is atonement, and then you go a little farther down, it says on the 15th day of the 7th month, there shall be a Feast of Tabernacles in Leviticus 23. So I'm talking about the 7th month here being connected all the way to Genesis, and the ark rested in the 7th month. And the 17th day of the month, that would be in the middle of this, of Feast of Tabernacles, because Tabernacles is basically 8 days long, right? It's 7 days plus the morrow after that, or something like that.
No, you tell me. You're the one that's doing all the findings.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just, I don't know if you've seen that before, where at least, because if it's the 15th day and 2 days after, that means the ark rested in the middle of Sukkot on Mount Ararat. And Ararat means the curse reversed. So So I was like, that's kind of cool. So I was trying to make a similar connection with it says the second month to the second Passover in the Book of Numbers. So I'm just kind of, if that has any kind of like overlay. I'm looking for overlay.
I don't know. True story. You tell us what you.
I don't know. I was just seeing if you see that. I was sourcing, so I didn't know if you see anything like that before.
No, I haven't. But Le Nom de Plume may.
Okay.
So.
But that's what I've been up to.
Did I see Cyrus pop in?
iServe should be able to help me here.
So
I was in Noah's Ark, and I was looking.
You're really old.
Huh? Yeah, I'm really old.
I was just
joking. Because you said you were in Noah's Ark, and that would mean you're like really old.
Yes, I'm really old. I'll take it. I'm old. In Genesis 7:11, all right, it says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. That looks really close to the second Passover. Do you see that? In Numbers 9, verse 11.
It says it was what day of the second year? Right.
Now that's the 17th day of the month. Okay.
The second month, though, right?
Second month. 17th day of the month. Now that would be right after, in Numbers 9, verse 11, on the 14th day of the second month at twilight, you may keep it. So that's the second Passover, right? Right after the second Passover.
If there was a second Passover prohibited at that time, sure, it would be.
Now, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that was established, but I'm looking at the time frame. This time frame here, would that be right after the second Passover? That'd be 3 days after.
Well, y'all don't talk all at once, Pat.
No, I was confirmation. I thought you were digging.
No, I'm working.
No, I already picked their brain, so.
I really just remembered that I'm in town and I could park in here, so it looked like there was more people in here, like Veronica's doing. But I'm in a study on my other phone.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of looks like that. So I'm like, it looks interesting. And the other thing I've got a question is, so if there was 14 of the clean beasts, would that not make four of the unclean? In Genesis 7:2 it says, of every clean beast thou shalt take of thee by sevens, the male and his female, and the beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. So if you do the same multiplication of above, you come out with 4, right? I don't know. I was always told it's 2 unclean, but it's like the male and the female. But looking deeper, it looks like there's 4. And there would be 14 of the clean. I don't know. And then what's interesting too, digging deeper, the Hebrew, the word that says fowls doesn't necessarily have to pertain just to birds, because it doesn't say birds. So the word is oph in Hebrew. And the word can be fowl, bird, flying, or flyeth. So it could be the word
similar
bird.
Similar to something that cuddles its young the way it feeds its young.
Well, it's also used as insect. Let me see if I can find it. In Leviticus 11:23, but all other flying, creeping things, so it's not bird, so that word flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. So that word flying there is the same word is used as fowl. So it doesn't mean it necessarily has to be the word, that word there, but most of the time it's used as fowl, 59 times. It's interesting. It's probably meaning bird, though. Since the majority of it's 59 and 9. It's only flying and flyeth once and twice. But in blue letter it says flying creatures, fowl, insects, birds. Or winged insects, and also. Interesting.
It's strange.
All right, I'll open the flat Earth one. How about that? So if you go to Genesis 6:16, it says, "A window shalt thou make in the ark, and a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set aside thereof, with lower and second and third stories shalt thou make it." That word window there is only used one time as the word window. And the rest of the time it's used as noon or noonday. So if that word window is instead, if you look at it as the word noonday, it's only used one time as the word window. All the other times it uses noon, noonday, midday, noontide. So
what about the windows of heaven? I'm pretty sure that means sluice.
I think it's a different window. So in this case here, when it's talking about the ark, so I'm wondering if that's there so you can see the moon. I'm kind of curious. Or the luminaries in the sky. So that almost would be directly north. If it's a noonday, that'd be noon. So that'd be straight up. That's what it seems like it is. I know everything I see of the ark, the windows are always on the edges, not on the top, because water would get in from above. But I think their argument makes more sense. But here, just looking at the text, it seems like there would be a window above to look up.
That's interesting.
I mean, he made the Moedim from the beginning, so the stars and everything else. So I guess that would allow him to kind of keep track of what's going on while he was in the ark, for over a year.
So the question I have is why Urartu? Why couldn't it have been, say, I don't know, the Himalayas, like Everest? That's pretty tall.
Oh, where the ark rested?
Yeah, or possibly even Antarctica. That's pretty tall too.
It could be. I don't know. We don't. I mean, I guess we're given an estimate where these things are. Do we actually know where Everest or Ararat is actually at? I don't know. That would be cool if it's in somewhere in Antarctica.
Or what about North America?
I have trouble picturing that. How would you figure that?
Like in the extreme north?
Right, but you have Noah leaving and he's now in North America. How would he have gotten across the other side?
Oh no. Here's the thing. There's depictions of like Samaria, like artifacts from America. Like for instance, everybody knows about the tree that the Sumerian deity is holding or not deity, but Gilgamesh, right? He's got a lion under one arm and a tree in the other. And that tree is a tree that only comes from North America, the holly tree. But yet it's depicted on these cylinder seals and these rock carvings from ancient Mesopotamia.
I did see some things where there is some arrowheads and artifacts that had Yahweh's name on it here in America. I did see that. My theory is that when the dispersion happened, some of the tribes of Israel might have migrated to America, possibly. I mean, they live in tents. They have tassels on their clothes. I mean, even the way they say, how do I say it? The deity that they say sounds very similar to Yahweh or Yahuwah. So I think that's very interesting. Trying to think of some other things that are similar.
And they greet each other with say Anin, and that's very close to Ani, which is I am or I.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that one. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my viewpoint on that. But I have trouble picturing the Ark in America. I mean, it would kind of make more sense being closer to overseas. That wouldn't. I can't picture very well. It'd be a very long journey. So right after the Ark, you have the Tower of Babel. So
I'm just saying the Sumerian tradition has it that the one that survived the flood lives on an island far out in the middle of the ocean.
Do you got a link to that or something? I'd like to look. Just kind of curious. Let's see what you're looking at. I'm trying to picture it.
I'll have to look it up. It's like Epic of Gilgamesh.
You said just look up Gilgamesh?
Epic of Gilgamesh. It's been retold like several different times. There's different renditions of it.
Epic of Gilgamesh.
But it's talking about Aratu, the Lord of the Flood. Utnapishtim. Some of those says that man came together and learned the secret of fire, and then they slowly stopped being able to understand one another.
I see. So the thing is Noah's flood copied from the Epic of Gilgamesh?
No.
That was one of the things that popped up.
Because in the Sumerian tale it says that the survivor of the flood was granted immortality for surviving the flood.
That's interesting. Maybe the Epic of Gilgamesh copied Noah's Ark.
Well, who killed the chat? Did I really kill the chat?
Hi everyone, welcome back to Flat Water, Flat Earth. This is the firmament is real, or 100% proof that the firmament is real. I actually put this proof in several of my first videos, but a lot of people didn't really catch that that was what was in there. So it was also in my Flat Earth Fully Explained video, which many times has been blocked worldwide and pulled from the internet. What this information is, first we'll start with the information about high altitude lightning and how scientists admit that it's the very top of the atmosphere and that it's created, that lightning and sprites and high altitude lightning and sprites and elves are created on the other side of the dome. And it's in a National Geographic piece. I'll link it here. Every time I've used any clips from that piece, they have heavily copyrighted it and removed it from YouTube, so I can't post using that. So you saw that these guys, the Flat Earth Bros, they saw it in my movie, I think, and then they went and made a piece about it. And then they went and made another piece about it here as well. And you can see it was originally in my Heaven and Earth, and also the Flat Earth Fully Explained video, which had the actual full National Geographic piece in it, where they discuss that it's the top of the atmosphere and that they can't get to the other side of it to confirm their findings. So it's another admission that we can't make it to space. So after that, though, there's this amazing proof, and I hate to use other people's information, but I think it's worthwhile here. This is Rob Skiba, who does amazing work. You guys know him. He's amazing. So you'll see these CIA documents that were approved for release in 2000, and you'll see that this is actually the Scientific Council of the Institute of Physics of the Earth in the USSR, and that they argued for these findings at the geophysical year. It's about light scattering in the high atmosphere, so some properties of atmospheric indicatrices of light scattering by Pyaskovskaya, Fasenkiba, the Astrophysics Institute, the Academy of Sciences in Kazakhstan, the USSR. This is done in 1957, but it shows you that even at that time the Russians knew there was a firmament. Determining the coefficient of atmospheric transparency from sky brightness. And you'll see they use several methods to actually determine differences of light in the sky to identify the firmament. So again, by the same author, USSR Geophysics, published in '62, Calculation of Light Dispersion of the Higher Orders. A proof is presented that the light dispersion of the higher orders can be computed from the data obtained in plain direct observations. The brightness of the sky considering all forms of light scattering. Various methods for determining the atmospheric transparency coefficient. And all of these documents as well reference the non-rotating flat Earth, or a flat, non-rotating Earth. And I'll put links to them as well. Study of the dispersion of light in the Earth's atmosphere. Joint Council of Institute of Physics of the Earth, the Institute of Physics of the Atmosphere, and Institute of Applied Geophysics. The Academy of Sciences in the USSR. You can't get any higher up, scientifically. Investigation of light scattering in the Earth's atmosphere, 1957, from Moscow. 2,500 copies printed. Sponsored by an academy of the USSR, the Scientific Academy. The purpose. The book represents advances made in the study of light scattering in terrestrial atmosphere and is directed to the specialist in the field. This book is a theoretical study of the optics of terrestrial atmosphere and is supplemented with observations of the brightness of the daylight sky, conditioned by molecular and aerosol scattering of light. A new method is proposed for the derivation of the scattering indicatrix from the calculation of multiple light scattering in the atmosphere. And it shows all of the people involved, all the scientists, and different heights. Introduction, Chapter 1, Fundamental Concepts and Definitions. Weakening of light in the atmosphere, scattering of light in the atmosphere, the apparatus and methodology of the observations, a daylight sky photometer, an Oriel photometer, determination of effective wavelengths, and accuracy of measurements. Brightness of the blue daylight sky. Formula for the brightness of the blue sky with consideration of first-order scattering and certain deductions from this formula. Observed brightness of the blue daylight sky. A formula for sky brightness with consideration of multiple light scattering and collation of the formula with observational data. Indicatrix of light scattering in the atmosphere, calculation of multiple light scattering, criterion for the stability of optical properties of the atmosphere, methods for determining the atmospheric clearness coefficient from the blue sky brightness. So they're able to determine the brightness put off by different objects in the sky. And they'll actually use the sun to measure against, and they'll use